Hey y'all, how's it going? It's Sway, and we have quests coming to Battlegrounds today. This is going to change a whole lot of things. Of course, we have a new minion set interacting with these quests, as well as some brand new quest rewards. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's go. All right, so I have a confession. I am a huge nerd. I'm sure none of us knew this. But so basically, whenever I saw this blog post we got yesterday, I decided I should make a spreadsheet. So I made a spreadsheet of all of the heroes as well as the quests and the rewards. I started making the minion spreadsheet and then I was like, this is a lot. So I guess I drew my line at minions even after 100 heroes. Almost 100, literally. There's that many heroes in Battlegrounds right now. But I made this spreadsheet so that I could use Control F so I could find certain words. So it would help me find the memes better. So that is how committed I am to this cause. What a tangent we went on. Okay, let's very briefly explain what quests are for our friends that are new to quests. On turn 4, you get to discover a quest and a reward, and that reward is going to help you throughout the rest of the game after you finish your quest. Some of them are fantastic. Some of them are not the best ever, but still pretty fun. There are a few things to know about this. The higher the armor, the kind of less optimal your hero is. Therefore, the easier it is to complete your quest. I remember during quest meta previously, I really liked this. I took a lot of heroes that I wouldn't normally take because I wanted to get my quest just a little bit faster. And as we're breaking down the rewards, we will go into, you know, this hero may not be so good with this, or this quest reward is kind of poo. But in this specific condition, and maybe not so poo in this condition. So we're going to talk about all of those things as well. So as I mentioned with the heroes, there are other stipulations that come into play here with certain quests and quest rewards. They are only offered when certain things are available or when you are or are not certain heroes. And also good to note that not every quest will be seen all the time. There are some rarer quests. I personally like Pilfered Lamps. Aside from that, there's like Lamps, there's Sinstone. Off the top of my head, those are a few that are a little more rare and hard to find. And of course, we had our fun little partner in crime reward where you got a golden buddy. And I remember the chaos that ensued when people found out that was a thing because it was a secret. And now it's not such a secret, it's in the blog post. So let's talk about the new quests. And this is specific to what you need to do to accomplish those rewards. So we only have 3 new quests coming in. We have Burn the Evidence, which is selling 9 minions. And in the blog post, it does mention that these are baseline stats. So just to note, because there are numerical values in all of the quests provided in the blog post. Next, we have Pressure the Authorities, which is get your warband up to 30 total attack. Of course, I'm thinking of Ashara here. Is Ashara banned here? Deathwing is banned here, not Ashara. So I think of Ashara because you're already trying to get your warband up. So like that might work out pretty well. Round up the suspects is destroy 18 enemy minions. Now we have our unlikely duo that's coming back, which is you have to play 5 minions from 2 minion types that are randomly selected. Invite the quests, which I thought was invite the guests, but it's invite the quests. It's buy 7 minions. Dust for Prince, add 18 cards to your hand, which I believe, yes, Death Speaker Blackthorn is banned for that. So Death Speaker Blackthorn cannot be offered the Dust for Prince quest. We also have Cry for Help, which is play 4 Battlecry minions, exhume the bones, trigger 7 friendly death rattles, track the footprints, have Bob's Tavern refresh 9 times, assemble a lineup, summon 17 minions, which, yes, I had to check. Brewcon is banned for that one. So Brewcon is not available to get that quest. Also, if you're curious, I am getting these specific bans from the Battlegrounds lead Twitter post. There's a Twitter post in which those bans were communicated, so I am referencing those right now. Find the Murder Weapon, which is increase a friendly minion stats 14 times, and of course our friend Deathwing is banned for this one as well. We have Reenact the Murder, 21 friendly minions must die. Sort it all out, order your minions from lowest to highest attack for 4 combats. I literally always forget to do this. Always. I have so many games in my memory right now of trying to accomplish that quest and forgetting that I had to order them in numerical order. Oof. Follow the money, spend 33 gold, hire an investigator, end your turn with unspent gold 3 times. That was another one that I was like, oh, I have 1 gold left because I have goldfish brain. Goldfish? But okay, but I would roll because I'm like, oh, I have 1 gold left. And then I was like, Oh. And last but not least, we have Crack the Case, which is have friendly minions attack 11 times. And of course, my brain goes to Arana here because of Arana's activation of hero power requires minions to attack. So you are going to play in that playstyle anyways. This was interesting. One quest reward was removed, which was the greedy one. Unmask the culprit, lose or tie 3 combats. I feel like a lot of the game right now is removing that whole greed aspect, which I'm really sad about. I'm going to do it anyway, but I'm sad about it. Okay, now this is the fun part. Let's get into these rewards. So we're going to start with the new rewards first, and then we'll go into the older ones. Our first quest reward that's new we're going to talk about is Ice Sickle. This is an Avenge 1. Give a minion in your hand +3 attack. Dev comment right below it says that this is only offered in games with undead and or beasts in the lobby. So we are aware that this is, making sure that we have enough minions to summon and cycle so you're actually getting value. Assuming you play one of those comps, they could be just not offered to you in your shops. Then you might just end up playing Murloc or Mech or anything else. But it is +3 attack. So let's talk about where this is useful. With our minion shakeup, we did get a kind of hand buff situation with Murloc specifically, and then Cog-Work-Copter, which I have a very hard time saying, got added to our mech situation. So we are way more cognizant of hand buffs now than we were before. So this is going to be useful with Icicle. But we already have some heroes that are inclined to get things to hand a little bit more often, such as Phelan. Phelan does benefit from having buffs come to hand. For instance, right now, if you play Phelan with a Scourfin, and that Scourfin can buff your units that are still locked. Base skill cannot summon them anymore, but Scourfin can still buff them. And if you didn't know, now you know. So Phelan comes to mind in terms of just buffing a minion and just having it ready to go. Rafam is another one that comes to mind. Since this is an Avenge, so it happens as the turn progresses, you are getting a copy with that first minion that you kill, assuming that, minion dies on first impact. You're going to buff that minion that you receive, which is fantastic. And another hero that comes to mind for me is Yasharaj. Yasharaj, if you push the button, it always summons to hand first and then to board. So even if you don't have room on your board, you will still receive that minion, and you can absolutely buff it during your combat. So those 3 heroes mentioned, we also have to talk about who can get the most value from this. So in my head, I'm thinking of those summoning heroes. Greybow, I'm thinking of Terran. And why? Because they get way more Avenge value than potentially, Phelan, Rafam, Yasharaj, because if the Mana Saber dies, that's a lie because it's taunted either way. Let me try a different one. If a Rat Pack dies, all those rats gain taunt with Greybow. With Terran, you can control like a situation where you destroy a unit, get a taunt. In general, you have a little bit more control over where the attacks go on your board and doesn't get sniped so quickly. Now, in terms of what you want to buff in your hand, so my brain goes to, if you're playing undead or beasts, you're going to want to add some attack to play around a zap, potentially. As well, I think of mech shields, right? Mech is already pretty fantastic. Scrap Scraper got nerfed. However, Cog-Work-Copter still, even though it's 2 attack, or went from 2 attack to 1 attack, it still does what it did. So we still have these situations of decent buffs coming to hand for mech, and then adding attack is fantastic. Fan-a-tactic. No, that doesn't work. But of course, stats are good. More stats are better. Yeah, I don't think there's an outlier there. I don't think there's ever a situation where less stats are better. So, Icicle, I'm going to give you like a B. I'm intrigued by this. I think it'll be fun. Notably also, base skill summons on health, not on attack. Not that you can control where this attack goes, but I just thought about that, and I wanted to express that thought to all of you. Thank you for listening. Moving on now, we have Soul Pact. Soul Pact, after you play a minion, give other minions of the same type +1/+1. So there's a dev comment, this affects your warband and the shop. Notably, it does not say the shop until the rest of the game. It just says the shop. So that shop is getting impacted this way. I will say Hamul would have been fantastic here, but of course we don't have Hamul, which is sad. But we can still get some little value here and there in the shop, but more more so focused on our warband here. I want to tell you a meme I thought about that I don't know if this is a thing or not, but I don't see why it wouldn't be a thing, right? So say you're a curator. You're a curator with an amalgam that is a 2/2 and venomous. And then pretend, right, on tier 1, you have 2 mistakes. You get 2 mistakes. Or maybe even more than that. Make all the mistakes. Get all the mistakes. In my head, since it's an all-typed unit, any minion, right? Any typed minion should trigger Soul Pact on your Amalgam Menagerie comp. So that's going to be a day 1 for me. I'm going to try that out of just trying to get some amalgam menagerie situation going on with Curator. But, you know, in addition, outside of that very specific situation, really good for elemental spike turns with Nomi. Assuming that you maybe have 1 or 2 in the shop, then you can keep cycling things and buff those minions as well from Soul Pact. And you're bored, so you don't have to feel so bad about having like a Cyclone that you get very early and then your shop is +50/+50 and your Cyclone, poor little Cyclones at like +4/+4, not so much anymore if you're playing Soul Pact. Of course, I am also thinking of Pirates. Pirates is going to be pretty insane with Soul Pact because you are cycling a ton of Pirates and just playing, kind of just going. So that's going to be pretty good. But also Pirates are not so cycly. Pirates are just more money spendy. In general, we're looking at economy heroes. We're looking at Murloc APM, we're looking at Pirates, we're looking at Elementals, we're looking at those minions that you like to summon things and continue to sell and buy and sell and buy with Soul Pact. Also that Curator situation. If anyone does that, I want to see it. If anyone does that before me, that's high priority. Next, we have Sturdy Shard, which is a very fun quest reward to say. At the end of your turn, give your minions without taunt +1/+2 for each taunt minion you control. So this is going to happen a few times, but I did make a list of everything that said at the end of your turn. I am going in blog post order here, so this is going to get brought up here and there. This is Drukhari synergy. We love end of turn for Drukhari synergy. But of course here, right, you have your minions without taunt +1/+2 for each taunt minion you control. So let's say you're playing a fart comp, which is what I call a walking fort comp because I misspoke one day and it stuck, but we're playing a fart comp where you have a walking fort, you have a Drukhari, you taunted 2 minions as well as the walking fort and the Drukhari, and then you have 3 minions untaunted. So the Sturdy Shard and the walking fort and the Drukhari all working really, really well together to just make a massive board. This is another day 1 for me. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm very excited about it. Next up, we have Doppelganger's Locket. After each combat, discover a non-golden minion from your last opponent's warband. It keeps enchantments. I think that this is someone that takes bait's worst nightmare. So therefore, this is potentially my worst nightmare. I feel like this is going to lead to a situation where you're just going to keep receiving things that you may not ever use, but then you're like, look at all these lines, look at all these minions, they're large, I should use them, and then you die. Wow, I just sounded really pessimistic there. But honestly though, I'm a little bit concerned about like potentially leading you in a direction that may not be so helpful. At the very least, though, it's money. I don't hate it. I want to try it. I am scared of it. I will fall prey to it. Yes. Following, we have Timeline Acceleration. This is at the start of your turn. Get 2 accelerators that transform a minion into one from a tavern tier higher. So, of course, immediately we go to Galakrond and Toki, which I didn't read were banned, which surprises me, but I will take it. So we get Timeline Acceleration, and you can use those accelerators potentially with Galakrond and Toki's hero powers, right? So like Toki, push the button, then you get 2 minions of 1 tavern tier higher, or potentially 1 minion of 2 tavern tiers higher. I don't see why you couldn't target the same unit, right? Or Galakrond, you play the accelerators on the same unit and then hero power. So that's 3 tavern tiers above where you currently are. That's really good. That's really good. Also, regardless, that's just going to be fantastic. Like, think about even Malygos, right? You get some accelerators that transform some minions, and then you use Malygos's hero power so you can find the minions that you actually want. I really think that this is going to be a great quest reward. Moving on, we have our Invigorating Conch. This is one with a decent amount of bans. When you buy a minion, give its stats to a random friendly minion. stats. Oof. Okay, so this is banned with elementals, Gallywix, Millhouse, and Hogger. Elementals that can get out of control so quickly. I get it. Gallywix cycles and goes. Millhouse, Hogger, all of these very good heroes can definitely take well advantage of the conch. So that's not the worst situation for those to be banned. Outside of those heroes, there are a few other heroes that I can think of that would work really specifically well with this. Of course, it's just a great situation, but Mutinous can also consume those stats, which makes that extra yummy. We also have Vol'jin, who, when you give it stats to a random friendly minion, Vol'jin gets to choose the minion after the stats have already been given, which is amazing. I'm also thinking that you potentially get just a little extra value with Arana because you're purchasing more minions, right? With Arana, after you activate the hero power, you get a minion for free every turn. So, just a little extra value there. But in general, good with shop buffers. So in terms of minion types, right? We're looking at demons. Elementals, of course, are out, but we're looking at demons. Fellemental exists. It does. So does the demon that's on tier 3 that gives the shop stats that I cannot remember right now. But giving the shop some stats is a fantastic situation for Conch, and demons can absolutely do that. Next up, we have Boom Squad. I saw this name and I was like, Bomb Comp is back. It's not. However, it's back and it's like a slight iteration. This is an Avenge 3. Deal 10 damage to the highest health enemy minion. So this is only offered in games with undead and or beast in the lobby. So 10 damage to the highest health enemy minion. It specifically targets that minion. That is, the Avenge 3, that's going to require a milk comp, right? That's going to require a summoning comp. So of course, undead beast makes sense. There just seems to be a really big dichotomy right now in the game. Like, mech comp used to be a little bit of both. Chonky, also summon. That the death rattle part of mech comp is more or less gone. So not only mech comp not really being able to do that death rattle situation, also demons. They have like a few here and there summons, but not really anything like they used to be when Soul Juggler situation was still a situation. We do have a Noyo troop in. We do. It's just I don't think it's going to be bad, but if it's a very, very expensive quest to get this reward, I don't know how much I would do it. Of course, I'm going to do it to see what happens, but I don't know how regularly I would play that after the fact. And of course, we talked about those summoning heroes, Greybow, Terran, all those heroes do well with this as opposed to an economy hero. Moving on now, we have Divine Armor. At the end of your turn, give your leftmost minion in your hand +6/+6 and Divine Shield. This is another situation that we've been training for unknowingly because of Voon. Voon creating that situation in our head of, okay, our leftmost minion is the one that's going to be impacted by our hero power. So now we are prepared for Divine Armor. This is also Drakari synergy, not so much so that multiple minions are impacted, but you get +12/+12 in Divine Shield. And also Drakari plus Voon equals extra minion and also extra stats. But in general, we're looking at another hand buff situation. We're looking at Phelan. We're looking at people that can benefit from giving stats to a minion essentially for free in our hand. So we're also looking at, of course, Mutinous just for the stat line. We're looking at Vol'jin for the stat line. But the Divine Shield is the trick here. That's the interesting part. Because if you play this in like a hand buff Murloc situation and you're using like Bream counters, giving Divine Shield to the Bream counters sounds fantastic. Like, that sounds so good. Imagine you're in like a 1v1 Venomous Murloc summoning situation and your Bream counter has Divine Shield and theirs does not, but you're both doing a lot of work. Guess who's gonna win? I really like this. I'm really intrigued by this. In my head, it's incredibly similar to Mirror Shield, which is still in, but just not the shop, your hand instead. So I like this better than Mirror Shield for sure. Moving on, we have Map of the Unknown. After you play a minion of a type you don't control, give a friendly minion of each type +2/+1. I love to see the Menagerie support here because we haven't seen a lot. Like, Agam stayed in the game, Lightfang's still in the game. got a little stat line buff, but not a lot of Menagerie situations since we have a lot of overall board buffs. So happy to see specifically Menagerie situation. But I will say this does remind me of Queen Wagtuggle's old buddy before he got changed, where the tier 1 comp, where you just stay on tier 1 and cycle like Elemental and just like build really big tier 1 units. That being said, probably not viable because you're going to discover on 6 gold turn 4. So you don't know if you're going to have that quest. So if you set yourself up to do a tier 1 comp and you don't get offered Map of the Unknown, you are a sad, sad human being, and you're like, oh, well, what do I do now? I got a level really quickly. So, I mean, you could... No, this is not a good idea. Don't play tier 1 comp. I might try tier 1 comp. No, bad idea. Talking myself out of it right now. It's a bad idea. Don't do it. But I do love the Menagerie support. I think it's great. And I'm very excited to try this out. I think it'll be really, really fun, lead to a lot of cycling. You could even, like a Menagerie situation, have some summoning units in addition with like a Witch Wing, get some value. Overall, great time for everyone involved. And by everyone involved, I mean you, because you win and your lobby dies. So only you. Also, I realized I just said a word on like autopilot. Menagerie is what I call a Bran Menagerie. So I run 3 valuable units Bran and then some kind of value gainer like the Witch Wing, and then I just cycle things. That's my Menagerie. Next is the Bloodsoaked Tome, which is like just a blood-soaked? Okay. This is minions in Bob's Tavern cost 2 gold. There's a dev comment that this is going to be one of the rarer rewards, as well as the following heroes are banned from ever receiving this award: Millhouse, Gallywix, and Hogger. So similar to Invigorating Conch of just a snowball situation, absolutely wrecks the game for the lobby. Makes a lot of sense. Minions in Bob's Tavern costing 2 gold. I don't think, there's no hero that wouldn't benefit from this, period. However, specific heroes that I think would do really, really great with this. Here's a very outlier situation to start. If you're playing Ticketus or for some reason you get Dark Moon prizes, the minions costing 1 less reward. That is the turn 4 ticket reward. So turn 16. It's called Friends and Family Discount, and it discounts the cost of the minions by 1. So that would be, in addition with Bloodsoaked Tome, 1 gold per minion, which is probably more APM than any of us actually think we can handle. But outside of that, really insane Ticketus conditional. Edwin would also benefit because Edwin's hero power is based on purchasing minions. The more minions you buy, the more your hero power increases. So Edwin would do fantastic with this. Daryl as well, with the hats on purchased minions, would be very beneficial. And Kurtrus, also with purchasing 4 minions in 1 turn. Well, with minions costing 2 gold, you easily purchase 5 in 1 turn, no issues. So Kurtrus would also benefit from this as well. But as I mentioned before, every single hero. Who doesn't want minions costing 2 gold? Let's be honest. Next up, we have a Scepter of Guidance. Scepter of Guidance is where Bob's Tavern always offers 2, insert randomly selected minion type here, when refreshed. So this is good, but I feel like this is a trade-off reward. I feel like there's good and there's bad to this. So since apparently I'm pessimistic today, let's talk about the detriments. So I'm thinking of the new recruit Dark Moon prize. That's the tier 1 Dark Moon prize where you get an additional minion in your shop. So by the end of the game, tier 6, you have 7 minions in the shop. That means that you would literally not get any value from Scepter of Guidance. This could also be detrimental, specifically with Ysera and Varden come to mind for me, because these are also heroes that add to your shop to purchase from. Ysera adding 1 minion, so again, it's going to be those later turns where it potentially could be detrimental, and Varden doing the same thing. So you're only adding 1 minion to your shop. However, when you're trying to add that 1 minion from your hero power, and then Scepter is also trying to add 2 minions, I feel like that's not going to work out so well. That being said, it can also be beneficial with Togwaggle. So Togwaggle steals that whole shop. Why wouldn't you want to steal 2 extra minions? That's a lot of value. You're already getting a whole lot of value with Togwaggle's hero power, and now you can get even more value with Scepter. I love it. Next up on our new quest, we have okay, I'm going to try really hard to say this. Transm-ogre-fication. Transm-ogre-fication. No, I failed so hard on that, but it's that one. And it says at the end of your turn, set your lowest health minion stats equal to your highest health minion stats. So, of course, another end of turn, another Drukhari situation. And this one is beneficial because lowest health to highest health. And then guess what? You have another lowest health to your highest health. That's amazing. And let me tell you the specific instance I'm thinking of that I actually don't think is going to be that hard to achieve. I'm thinking of our Upbeat Upstart comp. So when you have a golden one, if you didn't know this already, if you have a golden version of this unit, Drukhari doubles that. So it already doubles. The golden version doubles. It doesn't set, it doubles. So Drukhari makes it double. So your Upbeat Upstart gets a whole lot of health. Guess what? Your lowest health minion also gets that health. And then your second lowest health minion also gets that health. It's going to be just healthy. However, if Murloc are in, I probably wouldn't try to do that because they're all just going to die to Venomous. But if Murloc are not in the game, I feel like that is going to be so much fun. Also, it's your end of your turn. So you spend this time building this Upbeat Upstart that is however many thousands of health. And then since it's the end of every turn, you can just buy something with shield randomly. A Deflecto. That's a 3/1, 3/2. Oh no. A base stat of Deflecto. Put it on your board. It copies that health. It's crazy. Of course, this is an outlier situation. In general, really good with those minion types that don't necessarily get health. So we're looking at Mech, we're looking at Pirate, we're looking at Undead. Great at buffing attack, not so great at buffing health. So that's going to be a fun one. And last but not least, from our new rewards, we have Endless Blood Moon, where your blood gems give an extra +2/+2 at the start of your turn, add 2 to your hand. There's a note that this is only offered in games with Quillbore in the lobby. So of course, the first thing I think of here is Blackthorn. I mean, obviously, you push the button twice, you get 4 blood gems, and all of a sudden you have +12/+12 a turn from Endless Blood Moon, just base, without playing Moonbake Jazz, without playing Prickly Piper. Base stats. That is good. I am excited for that. That's a lot of value. And there's a note at the end there that says when quests initially return, which is today, these new rewards will be offered at twice their regular appearance rate. Then it will be adjusted down to their normal appearance rate in a later patch a few weeks after. So if you were excited about any of those rewards we just talked about, or any of the ridiculous conditionals that I brought up and wanted to try them, you will be twice as likely to be able to create those scenarios for a couple weeks. So get that time in right now. All right, so now that we talked about all of our new stuff, let's really quick revisit some of the old quests and maybe what would have changed. Again, this is going to be much quicker than going through the new things because it's kind of a revisit for our friends that haven't played quests before. Also, maybe potentially some new situations that we can be excited about. Our first quest on the blog post from Old Quests is Snicker Snack. At the end of your turn, 2 friendly minions trigger their battle cries. So I remember with Denathrius, it always was such an exciting thing to get Ghastly Mask and Snicker Snack. Now you don't have to worry about Ghastly Mask anymore because of Drukhari Enchanter. So Drukhari brand doubles the battle cry, so then you can really go in even with like a young Murkai if Murlocs are in and get the most out of your battle cries. You can get 2 battle cries just go off. You can also think about the trigger with Caligos, because now Caligos instead of play is trigger battle cry. So Snicker Snack helps with a dragon build as well with Caligos, which is amazing. But in general, we're thinking of minions that we want to use with a Rylak, minions that are valuable battle cries. You're looking at like a Moonbake Jazzer, you're looking at a Felemental, potentially a Battle Master, Mechadraxis. A lot of opportunity here, and Snicker Snack was always a fantastic quest reward, and it continues to be so. Stolen Gold is, of course, still the same. Start of combat, make your left and rightmost minions golden. So the dream of the Terragosa Stolen Gold comp is still alive. I never made it work, and I wanted to so badly, so we get to get that dream back. It's gonna happen, hopefully. I'm gonna really try. So you put a Terragosa at the left and right side of your board, or just one if you just have one, and then you get the golden Terragosa, and then you just get all the golden Terragosas, and then you get promo drakes, and then good things happen. And we also have like combat effects that can affect this Terragosa now, like the Sanctum Rester, right? The Sanctum Rester can give health to these Terragosas, not just promo anymore. And, you know, really any other situation that happens during combat, you can use the Trickster to get the health on those minions. There's so much to do here with Stolen Gold, specifically for Terragosa, but also helpful for milk comps. So if you're looking at a Corpse Refiner or Witchwing at the back of your board, it'll be golden, get that value. Anything that develops during combat, really. The Herbiger or the Harbinger, if you're not me, is very beneficial at that backboard spot. We're also at the front board spot. You could run a Scourfin. You could run the Undead, a Radio Star. There's a lot of opportunity here. You know what I just realized? I said I was going to talk about these briefly, but I don't think I've ever talked about anything briefly, so there's that. Next, we have Evil Twin. Start of combat, summon a copy of your highest health minion. So, of course, you have to be mindful of how many minions you end your turn with. So you can get 2 chonkies instead of 1. And that's really just the same as it was. We have Ritual Dagger. After a friendly minion dies, give it +4/+4 permanently. This is, Brucon is banned from receiving this quest. I don't know about this, right? So last time we had Ritual Dagger, we also had Leaper. Leaper was still here. We had a Death Rattle mech situation, which we really don't anymore. Really only beneficial to Undead and Beast, but also Beast are losing that Leaper. So, like, the Leaper could go to a Mama Bear, and then the Mama Bear would get that buff. But now it's just those minions that have that Death Rattle. I don't know that this is going to be that good. And I never really loved it anyways, but I'm very concerned about how well this is going to do / not well. We'll see. We'll see. I am pessimist today, so I am not stoked about this one. I'm hoping I'm wrong. Anima Bribe is back. Anima Bribe left very early the last time we had quests, so Anima Bribe is back. After you sell a minion, give its stats to a minion in Bob's Tavern. Now, we have a lot of heroes banned here. Gallywix, Melhouse, Hogger, and also Naga are banned. Naga, so you can't, like, Giga Spellcraft 1 unit and then sell. And with the current, like, Crooner Zesty situation, I'm quite glad that Naga are banned here. But there's still plenty of opportunity outside of those minions. I'm thinking of Mutinous. I'm thinking of Daryl. I'm thinking of, like, in terms of minion types, I'm thinking of Demon. I'm thinking of Elemental. So when you sell a minion, stats go to Bob's Tavern. Mutinous allows you to consume those stats no matter what minion it goes on. Daryl's all about purchasing now. However, you can purchase and then you sell and the hat jumps to another minion. So you can really get some value in both ways from Daryl, which I'm very excited about because Daryl right now feels pretty okay. Demon, as we know, create a kind of board buff, shop buff situation. So I like an elemental similar thing of a very board buff, shop buff situation. So that is why I'm a big fan of Demon and Elemental with an Anima Bribe situation. Bigger minions into bigger minions equal bigger minions, right? So I think that's going to be really good. Devils in the Details is next. At the end of your turn, your left and rightmost minions consume a minion in Bob's Tavern. Of course, we have our Drakari synergy. We have our Demon, our Elemental. So we love those shop buffs. Same situation as Anima Bribe. Love those shop buffs to have those minions consume large minions. Love that. Next, we have the Smoking Gun. Your minions have +4 attack. So I feel like I should have prefaced, if you don't know, I don't like summoning comps. That's a lie. That's a lie. I shouldn't go there. However, I'm not the biggest fan of summoning comps. If I can choose between a summoning comp or an economy comp, I will choose the economy comp literally every single time. I love chunky minions that I had to greed and pay money and do the thing. Big fan of that. So Smoking Gun has never really appealed to me. However, if you are playing a beast build or an undead build that's really summoning a lot of things, Smoking Gun, that +4 attack can really add up. Next up, we have Cooked Book. I love Cooked Book. After you buy a minion, give it +1/+1 and upgrade this. Of course, our usual suspects banned here, Gallywix, Melhouse, Hogger. They can really, really snowball. So of course, they're banned here. But even still, no matter what hero you get, you can get it up to like +35, but just insanity. And Cooked Book is fantastic with mech, especially considering how specifically magnetized mech are right now. The amount of magnetization that's available, right? You can buy an Annoyotron, a tier 1 Annoyotron. Make it plus 10. However, by the end of the game, you can purchase an Accordotron, right? And a magnetic Accordotron that gives you money. When you purchase it, it gets plus 30. And then all of a sudden that Annoyotron is now plus 40, I think, if I remember the first stats I said, which I don't. So Snowball with mech is crazy. Big fan of that with Cooked Book. Mirror Shield is next. I referenced it a little bit earlier. After each refresh, give a minion in Bob's Tavern +4/+4 and Divine Shield. It's like a George cosplay, except you get the minions at random. Sometimes it can absolutely help. Depending on what you're offered in your shop, it can absolutely help. However, I don't love the RNG of it. And I just don't love it that much. Compared to everything else that's happening here, it's kind of on the same level as Ritual Dagger for me, where I'm like, meh. Apparently I have something against +4/+4, I guess. Moving up next, one of my favorite quests, because it's just so silly when you get going here, is Secret Sinstone. After you discover a card, get an extra copy of it. So this is specific to certain heroes who are Ticketus, Silas, Elise, Lady V, Ashara, Zephyrus, Alexstrasza, Cookie, Scabs, Kurtrus, ETC, and Rat King. That was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Next, we have Ghastly Mask. Add a specified end of turn minion to your hand. So one of our end of turn minions. Your end of turn effect triggers an extra time. So here's something fun, which we actually accidentally discovered when I got Denathrius like a couple days ago. But this reward now includes some new minions, and it has been updated to say an extra time instead of twice. It used to say twice. It said end of turn effects trigger twice. But now it works with Drukhari. So let's say you have a triple Drukhari, which makes your end of turn 3 times. Ghastly Mask, 4 times. 4 times for your end of turn effects. Oh my goodness. That's it. We'll leave it there. Oh my goodness. Next we have Theotar's Parasol. At the end of your turn, give your rightmost minion stealth and +8 health. So with Drukhari, this is an end of turn, +16 health. However, I'm a little skeptical about how valuable this is because there's only a few comps where you really want the back of your board to live. Like, we could argue that Quillbore with Bristlebach could be one of those situations. However, it's mostly like undead beast situation. And so like the majority of minion types are not necessarily going to benefit from this. Theoretically, like, of course, it's great for like that mid game when you're trying to do a little more damage. You triple into a 5-drop, you put it at the back of your board. You already have Parasol active, so they don't attack it. And if it doesn't die, that's a little extra damage to your opponent. But in general, I'm skeptical about how valuable this is. Moving on, we have Red Hand. Oh, I still remember the day that we discovered the Red Hand hack with Phelan, where Phelan's minions that are locked get that Red Hand buff, and it was so beautiful. So at the start of your turn, give a minion in your hand +12/+12. This is a start of turn, not an end of turn. So no value with Drukhari there. However, as I mentioned before, Phelan, fantastic with this because you're getting that tier 6 minion, however many turns it's in your hand between when Red Hand is procced and you get to tier 6. It's a lot of buffs. And then in addition, we're already kind of doing a hand buff situation with Murloc, with Mech a little bit. So this is just a really nice pairing with that. I make it sound like food, yes. But it's good for already, hand buff comps. And then, of course, Mutinous, fantastic. Even if you don't necessarily want that minion with those stats, you can purchase any minion, right, to gain that +12/+12 Mutinous can consume. Everyone's happy. Next, we have one of my favorite quest rewards that was consistently good. Victim's Specter. After each combat, get a plain copy of the last friendly minion that died. I will say this is not good for summoning comps because you will end up with like a helping hand or a half shell or just something that you really don't want to end up with potentially, unless you really do. Like, could probably make a meme out of only summoned things that you can't purchase. But like, aside from that, me, I wouldn't summon. But really great for finding triples, unless you're a summoning comp. And just really a fantastically consistent reward. Absolutely great. Another hidden body. Discover a minion from your tavern tier. So as soon as you finish your quest, starts all over again, and you get to discover, and you keep going. I love this one. Again, it feels very Silas to me. I think I got Silas with it one time and it was very overwhelming in a good way. But very fun, very good. 10 out of 10. Well, that's a lie, but if it's a 0 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, it's a 10 out of 10. I would play it. Tiny Henchmen. At the end of your turn, give +3/+3 to 3 friendly minions of tier 3 or lower. That was a lot of 3s. End of turn, we have Drukhari here. That's amazing. So if you really wanted to do something silly, Tiny Henchman, Drukhari. Done. Next, we have Alter Ego. Alter Ego, even tiered minions in Bob's Tavern have +7/+7, and then it swaps to odd. So again, I'm going to bring up Mutinous because we're just getting stats for free skis, so why not? But also, in general, can be beneficial if you're running something like an undead comp, right? And you want a bomb to live a little bit longer, and it just happens to have +7/+7. That is a great way to make it live a little bit longer. It's just valuable overall for tempo. Not my favorite quest, but also not the worst quest by any means. Friends along the way. At the start of your turn, get 2 random specified minion type. So whatever minion type it offers you, you get 2 random of those. So great way to find triples. If it just happens to be like something that's cycling, like pirates, like elementals, really, really great. Menagerie Mayhem. At the end of your turn, give your minions +1 attack for each friendly minion type. This also has some synergy with Drukhari, as we know. A whole lot of attack. So we're thinking of like, Whelp Smuggler. We can run a dragon in here. Oh, wait. Okay, hear me out. We could do a dragon menagerie comp, right? Between like the Cyborg Drake. We could do the Amber Guardian. We could do Skyfin. We could run a dragon menagerie with a Whelp Smuggler, and then Menagerie Mayhem works with that, and then we can cycle Battle Cries with Brand. Done. Okay, never mind. I talked myself into it. I like it now. Pilfered Lamps. If you've ever been to my Twitch channel, you should play Pilfered Lamps. You only need 2 copies of a minion to make it golden. I love Lamp. Yogg-tastic Tasties. At the start of your turn, spin the wheel of Yogg-Saron. So I don't have in front of me all of the different rewards. I will say it is some RNG. You're letting Yogg take the wheel. Could be a Dark Moon prize, could be stealing a tavern, could be consuming a tavern, swapping all your stats around, which often happens to me, very often happens to me, and it's terrible most of the time, unless it's not, and usually it is. Making a minion golden. These are all really fun things. It's a great RNG way to have fun. Wondrous Wisdomball, another really fun one, occasionally gives helpful refreshes. So every now and then you roll and you get something like shielded minions or a bunch of beneficial minions from your tavern tier, or a bunch of tech minions. Random things that are fun to play. Essence of Zerus is next. At the end of your turn, get a shifter Zerus, which transforms into random minions. So let's go through this really quickly, right? Drukhari, end of turn effect. Triple Drukhari means you get a golden Zerus at the end of every turn, which means golden Zerus shifts into golden version of unit. And also discovers. I love it. The exciting thing about all of this is the only way that you could ever proc an end of turn effect twice previously with quests is because of Ghastly, and that could only happen when you were ever Denathrius, and it wasn't guaranteed. So the fact that we have a minion that can do this now is just my favorite thing ever. Hidden Treasure Vault. At the start of your turn, gain +1 gold, and it upgrades every turn. Really, really valuable. Helps a lot with just getting economy and cycling. Awesome quest reward. Ethereal Evidence. At the start of your turn, choose from 2 new rewards. It's like the panda version of quest rewards. And sometimes it works out super, super well, and sometimes it doesn't. Depends on your luck of the draw. Another very RNG heavy thing, but also very, very fun. Volatile Venom. Your minions have +7/+7. After they attack, they die horribly. In the Battleground Leads Twitter post, it says must have mech, beast, or undead in the game for this to happen. Okay. I think it's good for stats, and if you're doing a lot of summoning, it's great. But I don't really love this, because also if you're thinking about it, right, and you're playing undead, assuming that you're running stuff at the back of your board that you want to be chonky and to live and to take some hits, it's still going to attack eventually, and it is going to die in 1 hit. And that was my issue with this the whole time. And it remains an issue for me. I don't love this quest reward personally, but also it can be kind of handy, kind of fun, great with Beast, I assume. But again, that situation where you want your back of your board to live, me. Maybe it never gets there because you have so many summons. Yes. We have our Golden Hammer. Spellcraft, make a friendly minion golden until next turn. Very, very valuable to have a random friendly minion golden. And I took this once with Reno, right? And it was like my little test run where I would golden a minion with the hammer. And then I'd be like, cool, that's the one. And I would use my hero power. I'm pretty sure I never used my hero power. Nope, I did. I lied to you. But it's a nice little like when you're in the fitting room and you're trying on some clothes, Golden Hammer, same thing. Next we have Sinfall Medallion. After you play a minion, give 2 other friendly minions of its tavern tier +2/+2. Of course, we are looking at our economy heroes here. However, still beneficial for like those summoning situations like Undead and Beast, because you can cycle those higher tavern tier minions when you get up there. Like you can triple into a Mama Bear, then you get to 5, cycle the 5s, Mama Bear gets buffed. It's a great situation. But also really just valuable overall if you're cycling Murloc, if you're cycling Elemental, you're cycling Pirates. We have Kidnap Sack next, which is another spellcraft. Choose a non-golden minion, add it to your hand. This feels very Jandacy to me, right? You can get some value from some battle cry over and over and over again. If you want to create board space without selling anything, that's a great way to do that. You can also steal from your shop, and that's overall a really, really good spellcraft situation to be in. Next, we have Enhance-a-matic. At the start of your turn, get an enhanced part that gives +5/+5 and a random bonus. The enhanced part is a spell, and the random bonuses can be Taunt, Wind Fury, Divine Shield, or Reborn. So we're looking at a Reborn Leroy that can avoid being killed by a Tunnel Blaster. The Wind Fury is interesting, especially considering the Naga that used to give Wind Fury is gone now. So being able to give Wind Fury with the spell can be very, very useful now. And last but not least, on the blog post, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have Partner in Crime. So this is actually known. This is a thing, it exists, where you get your golden buddy. This was such a rare occurrence, and I assume still will be incredibly rare. And the banned heroes are Sarfang, Hogger, Inga, and Voon for obvious reasons of not having a buddy that works with the hero power. So therefore, we have no way to, have a buddy for them. So Partner in Crime cannot happen when those heroes are in the game. So that was this was the quickest deep dive I think I've ever done. That being said, I don't know how long this video is going to be edited, but I still think I talked a lot and got a lot of information without taking that much time, I think. But if you're still here all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. Of course, we'll have some fantastic gameplay for you starting tomorrow with quests and a lot of more fun things planned for this channel specifically very shortly that I'm excited to tell you all about. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let me know what you're excited about playing in the comments, and I will see you tomorrow for some gameplay, or you can check out my 12-hour stream on Twitch today when quests drop. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.